When buying a new home from a builder, does it make much sense to use all the extra services that they have to offer? It might actually surprise you. Let me tell you why. So recently we had a corporate quarterly meeting and we went over some different things that were successes and maybe a little bit of failures. And one of those things was called a capture rate of how many buyers actually use the extra services that are offered by the builder. Now, obviously a builder wants this capture ratio to be absolutely as high as possible, but sometimes that isn't always the case. Now, what do I mean by extra services? Many builders have some extra services that they offer, typically for free, sometimes for fees, that help keep the process of you purchasing and closing on a home as smooth as possible. A few of these things include a mortgage lending company, a title company, and an insurance company. Now, while it is up to the buyer to use whomever they choose, it is typically recommended that if a builder does offer these services, to use those services as a buyer. But again, that's not always the case. But during this meeting, management gave a bit of a new perspective to us regarding these services and why it's so important for a buyer to use these services. And so one of the biggest and most common services is the mortgage lending company that the builder has. Many builders offer this service because it's in-house. It helps keep the process streamlined. Sometimes they can offer some great incentives. And most of the time, if a builder does offer any incentives, they are specifically tied to using that mortgage company. So for example, if you're purchasing a new home with a builder A and they're offering, say, $20,000 towards closing costs, that's typically going to be tied to using that builder's mortgage company, say mortgage company A. Another one of these services that the builder may offer is title services through their own title company. Now, a title company is going to take care of a lot of the paperwork during closing for you. They do research on the property itself, but the biggest advantage is that they work hand in hand with the builder and with the mortgage company so that you don't have to do a lot of this work on your own. Your realtor doesn't have to do a lot of this work. It's all kind of taken care of behind the scenes for you without you having to really lift a finger. The third service, and possibly one of the most important services that's offered, especially here in the state of Florida, is the insurance company. Now, again, this insurance company typically is going to be in-house with the builder, but you're probably asking why is this one so important? Well, recently here in Florida, we had a hurricane. And in many cases, if the category of that hurricane is high enough, the governor will step in and say that the state of Florida or this particular area is in a state of emergency. Now, in many cases, what we would refer to as an outside insurance company cannot write or cannot bind insurance policies during this time. However, in many cases, a builder's insurance company can actually do that. So to give you a bit more of an example, if your home is expected to close and the builder and you need it to close during a state of emergency or during a hurricane that's coming through, maybe even the day before, the day of, or the day after a hurricane, the chances of having an insurance company write a policy for that home is slim to none. While a builder's insurance company typically can take care of that for you. So if you needed to move in the day before a hurricane, or even some cases the day of the hurricane, and it's actually possible, you can still do this by using the builder's insurance company. Now, keep in mind, in many cases, you can go and use your own insurance company afterwards. It's almost like buying insurance for a car. Once that policy expires, or once you decide to just change policies, you can actually do that almost at any point. In many cases, the policy that is offered and for the rate that is offered is actually pretty good. And at the end of the day, the goal is to have the buyer close on the home. Typically, the easiest route to do that is by using all the services that that builder offers. Because everything is in-house, it can be seamlessly maintained and looked after, and there's not much confusion because the builder knows exactly what's going on. The mortgage company knows exactly what's going on. The title and the insurance company all know exactly what's going on because it's all in-house. Many cases, trying to do this with what we call an outside lender, which may be your private bank, your mortgage broker, may not always be the case with keeping things as seamless as possible. And so again, for example, if a hurricane comes through and the construction on that home gets pushed out further and further, a private lender, a mortgage broker may not be able to adapt as quickly as the in-house lender or mortgage company that the builder has. And same thing goes with the title company and the insurance company. So keep this in mind when you're looking for a new home. Granted, you do want to get the very best deal possible, but you have to ask yourself, what's the very best deal? Is it convenience? Is it price? Is it something else? You have to weigh all these factors, and in most cases, it typically makes a lot more sense for ease, for seamlessness, for convenience especially, to use the services that the builder offers, which would typically be your mortgage, your title, and your insurance. If you're looking for a new home and have questions specifically about this, please feel free to reach out to me or leave a comment below. I'd be happy to answer those questions for you and hopefully point you in the right direction as always. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you know anyone else looking for a home, please feel free to share this with them. I appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.